Hi friends, in this video I'm going to show you how to make the most of a small space. Using my own apartment as an example, I'm an architect. When I set up a space, I rely on both my professional knowledge and practical tricks that help make even a compact home functional and beautiful. Flexible space design. The main idea is important to make your apartment adapted to different scenarios. Your space should be easy to transform based on what you need at the moment. Example from my apartments. Modular sofa made of two parts that looks like a stone. I can move the piece around, place them opposite each other, push onto the wall, or combine them into a chill-out zone. A round table, super easy to move. If I'm having people over, I can bring it closer to the sofa and some chairs and sit up to 7 people comfortably. A folding shelf divider, portable and compact. I can fold it up or move it elsewhere when I need more space. More example from other project. A transform table starts small but expands to seat 20 people. Coffee table that turns into a dining table, great for small apartments. A transforming kitchen. Kitchen unit hidden inside a closet that open up when it needed. Bed that turns into work desk, floats up and becoming a full-fledged workspace. Armchair bed, a comfy chair that unfolds into an extra sleeping spot. Cons of building in transforming furniture. High cost. Good fitting and reliable mechanism aren't cheap. Installation limitation. Most of these solutions don't work for rental apartments where drilling or structural changes aren't allowed. What I chose for my place: minimal built-in solution. Mobile transformer furniture that can be moved around easily, no damage to walls or finishes. This is episode number 2 of my series How I am setting up my apartment. In the previous video I talked about how an architect chooses an apartment. What to look out for. I show 10 different places and share which ones I thought had the best potential. In this episode we are focusing on how to set up a small space. I'll share practical tips and show what I'm doing with my own 581 square foot apartment. Why my experience might be useful. I'm an architect with over 90 years of experience. I run an architectural firm that has completed over 1,000 projects worldwide. This is actually the first apartment I'm designing for myself. If you're into real practical advice from an architect, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There is a lot more real-world tips and examples coming up. Keep the ceiling visible. Why it matters. The ceiling is a key visual boundary. When it's open and not chopped up by furniture or dividers, the space feels taller and more open. Example from my apartments. I put a shelf divider between the hallway and living room, but it doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling. This zones the space, hides the air conditioner, keeps the ceiling look continuous, which makes the room feel bigger. Alternative. A full height cabinet with open sides. The ceiling still reads as one surface. A cabinet that stops short of the ceiling. This enhances the sense of vertical space even more. In one of our projects, we used rotating dividers mounted to the floor and ceiling that keeps the ceiling visible, while still separating the hallway. What's important in a small apartment? Keep the ceiling as clean as possible. Avoid visual clutter. In my case, I just have a few light fixtures. No complicated ceiling structure or track systems. A round table is the best choice for small spaces. Why round table? No sharp corners that get in the way or create visual barriers. The round shape uses space more efficiently, easier to walk around and fit better into compact layouts. Extra benefits. Round tables usually have a center leg instead of 4. This makes the table look lighter. Visual compactness. A round table always looks smaller than a square or rectangular table with the same seating. Personal experience. I use a round table in my last 2 apartments, and every time it helped keep the space feeling open and light. That's why I decided to use this trick again here. I wanted something special, so I found a table with a unique black wood base. By the way, black wood is a big trend right now. I noticed it at the Design Expo in China. If you missed that video, go check it out. I share a tons of ideas that I hadn't seen at show in Europe, in the US, and even picked a few for my own apartment. Furniture. How to choose for a small apartment. Chairs without armrests. They take up less space. You can sit from any side, perfect for tight spaces and narrow walkways. One of my chairs is by a Taiwanese designer. It has just one armrest, which make it easy to sit down from one side and turn towards the sofa if it needed. Sofa without armrests. Sofas without armrests look smaller and lighter. You get more usable sitting space because there's no extra bulk on the sides. You can still keep the comfort. Use heavy movable back cushions. You can lean your head on them or use them like armrests. In my apartment, I have a central cushion that can be shifted around. Great for lounging and looking out of the window. Bar stools with a single leg. Most of them swivel, super convenient in tight spaces, just turn and sit. Adjustable height, so you can match them to your kitchen counter, window sill or bar area. From personal experience, I have one on the balcony, easy to twist even in the corner and sit down. Another one is in the kitchen, Vicky uses it while cooking. They're from the same series, by the way. You can mix and match them, like bringing a stool from the kitchen to the balcony for an outdoor breakfast. Also, I added a swivel armchair to Vicky's home office. It's a B&B Italia chair. Working with viewpoints. As I mentioned in the previous video, a good view and long perspective can visually enlarge a small space. Panoramic windows are a powerful way to make an apartment feel bigger. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. How to make the most of views in small apartment. First step. Walking through your apartment and figure out where the best views are. In my place, it's the view from the right-hand side of the living room and from the wall to the right of the bedroom entrance. So I arranged the furniture accordingly. I placed the sofa so that when you sit, you're facing the best view. The bed is positioned the same way, so you can look into the distance straight from the bedroom. In the office, I arranged the desk towards the window, but I placed the under-desk cabinet on the right side, so the chair shifts slightly left and you get a better view while working. Also think about what you see when you walk along the main routes in your apartment. For example, in my apartment there's another building right across the street. When you walk in, it's the first thing you see. That's why in the living room I'm using a divider to block the direct view and not draw attention to it. Figure out which views aren't the best and try to hide them. In the bedroom, for instance, there is a building on the right side. I cover it with a curtain, but only on one side. So when the curtain is fully open, I get a beautiful view of the islands. And the area when the curtain gathers hide the less attractive view of the building. Combining function in the interior. The principle. Before you start merging different zones in one room or piece of your furniture, you need to first understand exactly how you're going to use the space. The most common combo is kitchen, dining and living room all in one. But that's not always convenient and it wasn't fast. Our real usage scenarios. Vicky cooks, watch YouTube videos without headphones and prefers not to be disturbed. I mostly work outside in the house, but sometimes I have loud Zoom calls in the evening. Conclusion. We decided to not combine the kitchen and living room. We need a separate kitchen so we wouldn't disturb each other. We mapped out all the functional scenarios. Vicky needed a separate workspace for her online lesson with kids, so we set up a dedicated room for that. I need a separate workspace for occasional Zoom calls. So we combine that with the dining area, so sometimes use the balcony table, where I can close the door and enjoy the view, especially during sunset. Extra combo: piano and Vicky's desk and adjustable height table. You can pull out the piano and play or use it as a regular desk. Tip: map out your zones and usage scenarios and think carefully about what you can combine and what you should keep separate. Tips for combining functions. First, list all your daily activities and scenarios. For example, cooking, working on laptop, relaxing, hosting guests. 2. Figure out what can realistically be combined. When planning a small space is not just about combined zones. It's about you making sure it matches your real lifestyle. Bed by the window. In my current apartment, I place the bed right next to the window, where there is a beautiful view. It's not just something that makes me happy every morning when I wake up. It's also a functional solution. On one side, I'm using the window sill instead of a bedside table, and on the other side, there is no bedside table at all. Instead, there's a dresser where I can put things. This allowed me to avoid neat walkways on both sides of the bed. Save space by skipping bedside tables entirely. Bed and niche. The bed was set into the niche with no side walkways. This allowed us to place the kitchen nearby and still have a separate dining area. Plus, it creates visual privacy. Many people ask me if it's hard to make the bed or change the sheets in setup like this. Honestly, from my experience, it's not a problem at all. I could make the bed and change the linens in under 2 minutes. From my 2 previous apartments, the bed stood on a raised platform with a full storage system underneath. This is a real efficient way to use the space under the bed, especially in apartments without a separate storage room. But in my new apartment, I actually have a separate walk-in closet with a window. Why a walk-in closet is a perfect solution. In a small apartment, have a separate room for clothes is a huge advantage. All the clothes, household stuff, drying racks and so on are hidden behind a door. When guests come over, there is no visible mess. What I put in my walk-in closet. Makeup zone. I'm using window sill as a seat with a mirror and light right next to it. It's compact, convenient, and the natural light is perfect for makeup. Drag rack. The problem: regular drying racks are usually ugly and take up space. The solution: a ceiling mounted drying rack with manual lift. It hangs up near the ceiling and doesn't take up any floor space. Wet clothes zone. After a run, you can just toss your wet clothes into laundry basket. The solution: hooks on the inside of the walk-in closet door. Hang the clothes to dry first, then put them in the basket later. Dirty laundry. 2 pull-out mesh basket. 1 for white clothes, 1 for dark clothes. Storage and cleaning. There is a built-in niche at the bottom of the closet. A docking station for the robot vacuum. The robot parts into the niche, out of the way, but always ready to go. Separate closet. Walk-in closet is ideal, but there is no possible regular closet can work too. For example, near the entrance, I needed a closet for outerwear and small utilities section. It was important to hide the shoes from sight. The perfect option is a built-in closet. I used this solution in my previous apartments, placing it so that the open shoe storage was hidden from the living room view. I actually made a separate video about this apartment. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But in this apartment, I couldn't install a built-in closet because any built-in would require wall anchors, and that's not allowed here. So my solution: I decided to highlight the closet instead of hiding it. I picked a Chinese-made closet and a deep wine color, so in living room you only see its sides. By the way, friends, this project was done together with one of the designers from my studio. I always stick on the principle of testing my company's services on myself. So this time too, I ordered a full design project from our studio and work on it together with Inga, one of our designers. One designer's mind is good, but 2 are even better. While working on the project, I also took notes on where we could improve the process and make our service even better for future clients. We work on projects worldwide. in the US, Germany, Indonesia, Russia, the UAE, Portugal, or many other countries. So if you're ever looking for someone you can trust with your project, now you know where you can find us. Appliances. In short, in small apartments it's crucial to plan ahead where each appliance will go and which one will be visible. You need to figure out what will be built in and hidden, like my vacuum cleaner, tucked away in a closet, and what will stay out in the open. For those especially, choose good-looking appliances that fit in interior. Tip for easy planning. Make a list of all appliances you need. Then place them on the apartment layout. Then think which appliances look nice and can stay visible, and which one are better hidden, maybe behind a curtain or sofa or elsewhere. Special mentions: projectors. They take up way less space than a TV and don't need a bulky TV stand. Modern projectors are powerful enough to be visible in daylight, though there is still not perfect direct sunlight. So plan for blackout curtains or set up the projector while direct sun doesn't hit the wall. And honestly, projectors create an amazing atmosphere. I love using ambient video, there's a ton of YouTube. You can project floating jellyfish, for example. I often did that in my previous apartment. It's super cool to mix with sounds of the ocean or a crackling fire. In my new apartment I plan to have 2 projectors. One in the bedroom and one in the living room. One of them will actually be pointed at the ceiling to create a starry sky effect. By the way, I'm thinking about making a separate video on how to choose stylish appliances for your interior, with real examples and models that I'm actually using in my apartment. If you're interested, let me know in comments. I'll definitely put together a video all about picking beautiful appliances. Moving on. Wall colors. Following the topic of projectors, let's talk about wall colors. General rule for small apartments: to visually expand the space, it's better to keep the walls light. Light walls make it easy to use them as a projector surface without needing a separate screen. Create a sense of airiness and lightness in the interior. But don't be afraid of dark colors. Graphite or even black can also work to make a space feel bigger. Black walls can create an infinity effect, erasing the boundaries of the room. A small apartments with dark walls can actually feel larger, not smaller. Decor. Go for big elements instead of clutter. The main rule for small apartments: avoid crowding the space with lots of tiny things. Instead, focus on 2 or 1 large elements each zone. Example for my apartments: in the bedroom, 1 large painting resting on the dresser, 1 big spherical light fixture on the ceiling. Not just a source of light, it created a vibe, like a cosmic planet or small sun, adding atmosphere. This ties into my personal preferences. For example, before bed I love listening to sci-fi audiobooks that transform me to another world. It helps me disconnect from everyday worries and fall asleep faster. In the living room I use big potted plants. If you scatter a lot of small plants around, it just creates a feeling of clutter, connecting the space with the outdoors. In my case, it's the balcony, and plants help me achieve that. I place a big plant right in front of the window inside, and I have another large plant just outside on the balcony. This visually connects to spaces and makes the apartment feel larger. You can use the same trick if you have a terrace. For example, use the same flooring, like tiles of the same color, running from the room out onto the terrace. That way, visually, the terrace feels like an extension of the indoor space. Friends, in the next episode I'm heading to IKEA. I'll share what I'm planning to buy for my apartment and how to make sure the interior doesn't end up looking cheap. Even though I respect IKEA's concept, I'm not a fan of fully furnishing an apartment with bare furniture. It often oversimplifies the look of a space. But there are pieces that you can pick carefully and use really well. I'll show you exactly what's worth buying, don't miss it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel.